This is the B-Team Podcast, brought to you by Jackrabbit Illustrated. The B-Team is presented by Drake's Place in Battle, South Dakota, and sponsored by Jackrabbit Central and Shenanigans in Sioux Falls. Now, here are your B-Team hosts, Brendan and Ben.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into the B-Team Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. As always, we are also broadcasting on the FCS Fans Nation Network. Thank you so much to our title sponsors, Drake's Place and Bottle and Cottonwood Coffee in Brookings. Hey, this is a great podcast to have. We're heading on to the quarters, baby, and that is, God, I should have looked this up before, but that's a lot of years in a row we've gone to the quarters, and I know we were all frustrated with the second half, but that's a huge deal, especially going on the road.
What happened? It was late, and we were up 24-3 at half, so I went to bed, and I figured, did we win? Was it like 41-6? Is that because we ran the ball a bunch, and we ran the clock out? Did we do that?
Oh wow!
We didn't.
All
That's
right.
not what happened.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no. If you guys are watching things like that, it was interesting, so to speak, the play calling in the second half. Kyle does a great job breaking it down. He wasn't quite as schmarby and smartass about it as maybe we are opening the show with. Just coming out swinging in anger. Apparently, Ben is less over it than I am.
I'm not over it.
No. Well, I mean, I think if you think back, if you think about why we all got pissed, and obviously the fan base, everybody was so mad, right? Everybody was so mad.
Oh, Twitter was on fire.
Oh my God, it was
so
Jackrabbit Twitter
angry.
Was melting to the ground.
We were up 2 scores headed to the quarters, and Jackrabbit Twitter was just exploding.
just
including
a full
myself.
meltdown.
Including
Right?
myself.
Yeah. Oh, I'm thinking of not having my phone even by me for the next game, because I didn't handle that well. And if you think about this year, we get of our last, let's say 4 or 5 losses, the vast majority of them we've lost the lead, realistically. Yeah. So you start getting really nervous about that. And like Patrick Frank says, Sac played pretty well that second half too. They did, especially offensively. I think it was hard for us to keep up. We had a bunch of guys in the secondary go down. That certainly didn't help. That number 83 for him, that dude is a freak. He made some plays. Chad and I, Chad came over. There was a lot more screaming than usual. It was more like when we're watching a game at the Dana screaming at each other. We had at least 4 solid fights going on there between us. But if you look, Kyle did a great job, and he sent us this breakdown of the second half drives, right? And it was, at the end of the half, it ended up being just over 50% run plays. But if you look at it outside of like the last drive, where we ran every play, like you have to, because you're just trying to run that clock down, and the last 4 plays that were run plays, even though we got the first down twice, we were 10 passes and 7 runs. And listening to like Mike Zimmer's pod, I understand where he's coming from, because Zimmer said, part of the reason we had let Southern Illinois come back in that game is we didn't try to step on the throat at all. And we didn't try to go ahead and win. And you could tell, if you think back on some of the plays, going for pass plays and things like that on the first down, I understand where we were coming from. We didn't want to just let that happen, right? But after like the first couple times, maybe just lock it in and start running the ball. I think the defense did a great job of making them drag out the drives, even though they gave up touchdowns. But boy, we could have used a little healthier dose of Davis and Strong, personal opinion. Obviously, I'm not a coach, but
yeah, I mean, you like to see some awareness, and obviously you don't want to let a team, get back in, or you want to step on their throat and put them away. but you need some awareness of, how long those drives were,
Right.
and how tired our defense was, and how even if we don't, have an explosive play for a touchdown, at least we possess the ball for a while and give our defense a break. I mean, to me, that was the most important thing that we didn't do. And
Right.
we've seen that in the past too, where we just don't give our defense enough of a break. Like Scott says, we need work playing with a lead. I agree. I mean, I think we're an explosive team, and we've talked about this a lot. How we rely on explosive plays a lot, and we need to learn how to play when we either aren't getting the explosive plays or don't need them. You don't need them when you're up by 2 or 3 scores in the second half, and you just need to kill some clock.
Right.
So hopefully we learn our lesson there. I mean, at the end of the day, we won the game, but it was really frustrating for a while there.
Right. And, Chad had Jim Poppins' comment up there a little bit earlier about he had a revelation about why the Jacks take the foot off the gas. And he asked if it's because of the infamous Arkansas Pine Bluff score, and Stig doesn't want to run up the score. Honestly, in this game, because to your point, Ben, to defend the coaching a little bit, if we'd have gone 3-and-out, 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 running the ball, we'd all been furious about exactly what Jim is referencing here. I think this game was a little bit of the opposite of, we were trying to be super aggressive. And, if we hit a couple pass plays or have a little more time, then it would have been a huge difference, because really, if you look at it from a different perspective, if we score one more touchdown in like those first 2-3 drives, the game's done, right? And I think that's kind of what we were going for. And personally, I have a problem necessarily calling the pass plays, but when you do it on first down like that, with the type of team that we are, like the team that can ground and pound you and hammer it, and then you're in 2nd and 10, and it completely takes everything off schedule when we're best when we're on schedule. I mean, that's when we gash a 15-20 yard run on 2nd down because it's 2nd and 5 or 2nd and 6, or you get into that 3rd and 4, and then you have options. And I think that really kind of took away from it. That was a big deal. I don't think Arkansas Pine Bluff had anything to do with that one per se, just because we were trying. They were trying to go for the throat there, and I can't knock us for that. I do agree maybe that mentally the team got a little bit in of not necessarily like they stopped playing hard or anything like that, but I think they got a little comfortable, and Sac State's no joke. We're all frustrated. Sac State won the Big Sky. Did they have a little bit easier of a schedule? Sure. But when you're to that point, it's the top 16 teams in the country. That's what it is. I don't care if you're playing at Montana, just because Sac State doesn't have the cachet of being, a perennial team or a blue blood FCS team. It doesn't mean that there's some terrible garbage team and we should have won by 50. Yeah, the first quarter went well, but it happens all the time at all levels. In the NFL, it happens in college where a team jumps out to a big lead and then another good team has their half. It happens. So I think we do need to be a little appreciative of the fact we still won on the road. Like Jordan Fink says, all that being said, a win is a win is a win. We won on the road against the number 4 seed while being unseeded. I mean, that's nothing to scoff at. I don't care where you think Sac State should have ranked, where they really are, all that stuff. Patrick Fricks says we're the first defense that really shut down O'Hara this year on the ground. And there's a lot of good things to take away from this game. And where we sit as a program, we have incredible expectations, but I think we should sit back a little bit and appreciate where we're sitting. We've been to the quarters. I mean, going all the way back to 2017 at least. 2019 we got knocked out. So every other year besides that, going way back, we've been in the quarters every year, which is just insane. There's maybe NDSU and then maybe one other team that can say that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it's hard to keep that perspective because, we strive for greatness and we want that championship and we know what this team has. but yeah, you have to kind of take a step back and realize how good we have it and how good this, how big of a deal it is even to get to the quarterfinals as many times as we have. And but at the same time, you just hope that we see this team play a complete game.
Right.
I don't think we've seen it since Colorado State, maybe.
Right.
Even that one, towards the end, they got some garbage time stuff, but that didn't count as much. But, you look at NDSU. I mean, we played really, really well against them, but we almost let them back in the game. And so, right. I mean, it's you just hope this team can play a complete game, and now's the time. I mean, it's I really hope that we can learn our lesson from this game because, for example, if we don't get that 4th and 1 play, I mean, it could get crazy.
Right.
That game could have slipped away from us real easy, which would have been embarrassing after being up 24-0. So anyway.
Right. And I just want to comment on one of the comments. I'm not, Scott says good teams make great adjustments at halftime. I do feel a little bit that comment almost is a shot at SDSU. Like we're not a good team. We're one of the last 8. We're definitely a damn good team. But
I think he's saying too that Sac State's a good team.
Yes.
And they made adjustment at halftime.
They made great adjustments. They really did.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a tough thing too, because if we'd have made adjustments and made adjustments, and then all of a sudden they don't work, then you look like an idiot for going away from what's working, which I think might have been a little bit what happened. You don't take Sac State and make them a seeded Big Sky champion and are a bad coach. That's like taking Missouri State, like what Petrino's just did at Missouri State. I mean, that is Sac State was a dumpster fire. That was the second time they've ever been in the playoffs. So it was a hell of a coach to get them there. So yeah, I agree, Scott. They absolutely made great adjustments.
It's confusing why. I think I saw a stat at halftime. We were gaining like 7.5 yards per carry.
Right.
Which is, run the ball 2 out of 3 times, you're going to get a first down.
Right.
It's as simple as that. There is no reason that our run to pass ratio shouldn't have been 2-1 for almost every drive for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And so that's the frustrating part. But again, hopefully they learn from it and adjust going forward. I have to ask, is Ariel punishing puppies in the background or
no? Have because I'm home alone and the puppy cannot behave by herself yet. So she's in the kennel. She's actually in a kennel in a bedroom, and she's just losing her mind. I apologize. There's literally nothing I can do about it. We think she's actually like part deaf, if not full deaf, and so that is one of the things deaf dogs do is they are just loud dogs. And for the life of me, I don't know how to stop that. So if somebody's got some sweet inside deaf dog training tricks, let me know. And we're like way behind the 8 ball on training her because, you start training a dog, you use your words because they don't look at you and go, I'm deaf, So that's a whole hot mess. But yeah, Patrick, I'm rocking the milk again because here's something I would like to point out on the milk topic. Southern Illinois, where the game slipped away in a similar situation.
Yeah.
No chocolate milk during the podcast. Sac State, we don't let the game slip away and seal it up and make the plays when it matters. Chocolate milk during the broadcast. I'm just saying, I'm probably the reason we won.
Well, I'm glad you're drinking chocolate milk this week. I do have to address Terry's question. Do you have a block of cheese in your pocket at this moment?
No, Rachel, I can hear you laughing back there. No, I am. I don't. I just freshly shredded it, actually, by the way.
Good.
Freshly shredded cheese, way better than the stuff in the bag. Just, it's important to know.
Well, look at the Rev coming in with
100% better. Like, so much better.
The Rev
it's not even close.
No, they got wax on the other stuff.
Yeah.
Rev's got a suggestion for you there.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, that's not up to me. That's up to Chad. Brendan's home alone because Ariel doesn't want to smell his milk chocolate farts. I'm not the one who gets gassy when I drink milk. I don't, for the life of me, understand. Does everyone have like stomach issues when they have dairy? Am I like the only person on this planet who doesn't have issues with my stomach?
Apparently, you're more Norwegian than everybody else around here because that's where the dairy started. So,
oh well, I'm not. Is Norway the Dutch?
No, but that's
no.
Okay, kind of in the same
no,
area.
I'm not Norwegian at all. Then not even like a little bit. But no, I always have people go, "Oh, you're eating so much cheese, you're gonna get blocked up or whatever. Good luck tomorrow." And it's like,
but you got red in your beard, so that's some Norse heritage way back when.
I guess
redheads are actually all from Norway. Yeah, Vikings are Norway. So.
See, you're the first person to ever even slightly infer I'm a redhead.
Well, here you are.
Yar.
Yar.
Here you are. Yar. Okay, it's a pirate broadcast now, matey. Yar, yar, yar.
All right. Any more thoughts on Sac State?
No. I'm fresh out. I do have thoughts. They're not good ones.
Yeah.
You want to hear bad thoughts?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, let's hope.
I'm willing to do that for you. I would do that for you. I'm just saying.
Let's just hope we trust the two backs in the FCS to carry us through a game or two here. Because I think, and I feel like we were headed that way early in this game, where we were handing the ball a bunch, and Seth, way to reel it back in there. Yeah, somebody has to.
Well, Ben's not letting go of his anger about this game.
No, I'm not. I need to discuss it more.
Are we going to discuss just your rage about this game for the next 43? Well, next 57 minutes, or
I would just for once like our game plan to be focused around the two best backs in the FCS, like every other team in the nation would do if they had the two best backs in the FCS. So let's not pull a UNI and waste generational running back talent and let it slip out of our fingers because we're too worried about passing the ball.
Right. I agree, but you do. We have so many weapons, and we have so many weapons.
I'll bet it's going to be easier to use them after we loosen them up with some runs.
Well, that was kind of the idea, wasn't it? I mean, that's in theory what we did in the first half. But
yeah,
why did we stop? That's
my question.
Because they set the house every play.
They still weren't stopping.
To be fair, I want us to. I was as mad as you are about running the ball, but I do. I mean, I wasn't a fan of the pass calls called, but you know what this feels like? This argument we're having right now. It feels like when you're playing your buddy who's running like all out blitz on Madden every time, and you're just really mad that you can't get by him, and you're going, "Well, I can't run. I gotta do it."
If that was the case, we had one negative run play, and that just after that we're like, oh, I guess we can't run anymore.
Well,
like give me a break.
Look, I'm not arguing that we should have passed more or we shouldn't have run more, but you can't run every play either.
I like Lonnie's point. Good to see Oladokin turn to the run game. Going to need that to win out.
100%.
Yes, that is a threat that we haven't had all year, and if we have it, it's huge. I mean, if you can get a guy, if you have all the weapons that we have, and then you have a running quarterback. I mean, look at what we did with Gronowski last year. That's why we were so unstoppable, is because we had the threat of the quarterback run. Hey, Kimberly.
Say nice things, Ben.
I'm just. Hey, man. Hey,
pressure.
Put up that comment.
Hi, Kim.
She says agreed. I think she's agreeing with me. So good.
I want
she's laughing about it too.
I mean, she has to remake that meme. Like, she has to remake the scene from what was the movie that
The Blind Side?
Blind Side. Yes. Oh, that would be hilarious.
Yeah. Anyway, I lost my train of thought.
That's a shame. No, Chris, you're talking about Chris running the ball, and I agree.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
how dangerous we can be if he runs the ball. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and if you look at the way he's playing, and Coach Stig brought it up during the coaches show that he's running like he hasn't run all season, and it looks like he's playing like it's his, like he wants to win the whole game, like he's playing like it's his last game and not leaving anything out there, and I love seeing that.
You're right. Yeah, we need that from him from here on out. I can tell he's been, I think it's his MO. He wants to be reluctant to run. He wants to look to throw before he runs. But I think that we're at the point where he needs to take what he can get. And I think we'll see that going forward, because I think he probably sees how successful it was. Yes, Kimberly, run the damn ball.
That's I love the one. Sandra Bullock. Do the Sandra Bullock. That'd be amazing.
Exactly. Yeah. Put up Terry's point. We should have done what the Patriots did. Mac Jones threw the ball 3 times. He had 3 passes and they won. They can win an NFL game against the Bills.
Look, I'm just saying, comparatively speaking, Sac State has a better FCS defense at the FCS level than the Bills have an NFL defense. That's all I'm gonna throw in on there. That's a little different. But
and Kimberly's point, they adjusted their game plan. They're a very good team. I'm not discounting that at all. I'm not discrediting Sac State. I think Sac State is a very good team. And the only reason we got up to a 24-0 lead is because their quarterback made some mistakes. And once he stopped making mistakes, they were getting back in the game. I think that if he doesn't make those mistakes, I think it's a 1-score game the whole way. And so the only reason it got lopsided was because they made mistakes. But anyway,
still hear my dying dog.
No, I didn't hear it at all.
Okay.
What are you talking about? Yeah, no,
that sounds sarcastic. Yeah,
it was.
Okay.
Anyway, let's move on from that game. Sac State, good team, but they're gone. We're moving on. We're
on to the next.
Headed to Villanova. And unfortunately, it's another fairly long road trip, and it sounds like on finals week, so that's not fun.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, I mean, shout out to the student athletes. That's got to be tough on them. Hopefully they can get through that and then get focused on Saturday, and we can go win and go to the semis.
Oh my God, Dustin's comment. That and Chad just threw up the highlight of Kraft making just an insane
that
catch.
Play was
awesome.
Look at his left hand is backwards.
Right.
He was still able to corral the ball. That was something else. That's impressive.
That was incredible. Dustin says it looks like I have Bobby Hawk back there complaining about how the spring season didn't matter, which is pretty funny. Like you said, on to Nova. I'm getting you. I don't know if everybody remembers the Villanova game when they came here in the playoffs, and God, I'm getting vibes that it's going to be a game like that. I mean, their defense is tough as nails. It's a weird defense. We don't play very often. They're really strong against the run. I remember a lot of people thinking going into that game, because I think they had either struggled or whatever, and a lot of people, not SDSU people necessarily, but just nationwide, were calling for us to just absolutely steamroll them. And that did not happen. That did not happen at all. That was a bare knuckle fight the whole game, and a single score game. And now that it's out in Villanova, I mean, personally, I'm a little nervous, and we got a little banged up against Sac State. And I mean, I'm certainly not going to guarantee a win, but it's the quarters. You never should, unless you get to play ETSU at home, then maybe you should. But otherwise, man, this is going to be a tough one. Them boys out east, they can play, and we better be ready for a brawl.
Yeah, it'll be a knockdown, drag-out fight. We'll get to the lines in a little bit, but the total was I can't remember what the total was. It was higher than I thought it was going to be.
Right.
I think it was almost under 50 or something like that. And I just don't see that many points. Dustin says 24-17 type of game. I agree. I think 41 points around there is about right. Yeah, low score type game. So it might be a nail biter, but hopefully we're kind of in control the whole way through. Let's recap the rest of the games before we get too deep into our thoughts on the Nova game.
It was really fun weekend. There was. I don't know if anybody else was locked in like I was to watching these playoff games. Had my buddy Jordan from Fargo down, which, he's an NDSU fan, but he survived. I had a JI flag up in his room accidentally. he
was down here instead of at the NDSU game?
Yeah. Yep. So
gotcha.
He that personal reasons as right now with the pandemic and everything going on, he doesn't go to those crowded games yet. But
makes sense.
Boy, there was a lot of fun games where the seeds all won besides Sac, but if those games aren't at home, there's some that dodge bullets.
Oh yeah, I mean, you look at Chad's got the bracket up here, but that same Houston Incarnate Word game was highly entertaining. That was a high scoring affair. Sam Houston 149-42 and did not cover.
Nope.
And Incarnate Word had a chance to score right at the end and got down to the 1 yard line. He was reaching the ball for the goal line, couldn't get it there. And I think they'll probably go for 2 and have a chance to win the game on a 2-point conversion if they score the touchdown. So Sammy was on the ropes and in trouble.
And man, that's a play call that I was going, what are you doing? I understood what they were trying to do. They were trying to catch Sammy thinking that they were dropping into pass coverage and that would open up like the Red Sea, and they didn't fall for the quarterback draw at all.
Yeah, I mean, Sam's defensive line is just too good.
Right. And when you're going to win the game like that, going to and your whole last play hinges upon them falling for something like that, I don't think that's a great idea. If they would have, if I was them, I'd have rolled them out and given them a 2-way go. But obviously I'm not a coach, never will be. I work in sewage for a reason. And it's not because I'm the brightest bulb in the drawer, but man, that was a brutal ending. The coolest ending was the Eastern Tennessee State game. That was nuts. Did you see the end of that?
I did. That was insane. I saw the whole last minute 30. So Eastern Tennessee was down by 2 touchdowns. They get down, score a touchdown, and then they have to kick an onside kick and get it. It was a real nice onside kick. I don't know exactly what the Kennesaw State guy was doing because he almost looked like he got out of the way of the ball. But
he was busy not getting the ball. That's what he did.
But Eastern Tennessee gets the ball back, and they're throwing the ball at this point, which they haven't done all year.
Right.
And they scored another touchdown, went for 2, and won the game. So congrats to them. That would have been a tough loss at home, but they pulled it out. And they did not cover, though, which was thankfully. I only went 2 for 6 this week.
I was going to say, let's bring this up, Ben. You drug me so hard.
Yeah, well, I went
closer.
I went 2 for 6. You went 4 for 4. Could have been worse if they went to overtime and Eastern Tennessee covered, but they didn't. The other games, Montana State beat UT Martin 26-7, covered their spread there. The NDSU whooped up on Southern Illinois, which was surprising. I thought Southern Illinois would put
some people.
I thought they would have put up a better fight. That was
I mean, it happened exactly. Like I kind of thought it was going to happen if they started slow all year in these games and came back. And when you're up there in the playoffs, you can't get down by 2 touchdowns and then expect to come back. And they got absolutely beaten over the head. And that's exactly what happened. But Dustin Helton, who friend of the show, the Rev, He runs the Whack Network. No, he runs the Straight Outta Whack podcast. And he says if we get SDSU at Sam Houston Semi, we need to make this a Whack Rabbit Illustrated podcast. Maybe that'd be fun. He knows all about his favorite team, Sam Houston State. I'm kidding. I didn't mean that. That was unnecessarily cruel. It's all in fun. And Dustin's our free agent pickup from the spring anyways, free agent fan pickup. So I shouldn't be like that.
It was nice of you to remember the name of his podcast, unlike the Believe guys. Or not Believe guys, Sean. Sean was straight up disrespectful.
Yeah. If people haven't tuned into their podcast, Sean called us the Spittin' Jacks podcast. So
Spittin' Jacks.
So he's on our shit list. But don't worry, we know the name of their podcast and even Dustin's podcast when he's mad at us. But that's because we're good people. We're just better people than the Believe guys. We're not hacks like they are.
We don't. I'm not calling Joe a hack, but I'm calling Sean a hack for that. That was bad.
Yeah. He's a hack by association.
True. Back to the games. James Madison whooped up on Southeastern Louisiana. Didn't cover this. Southeastern Louisiana did not cover the spread in that one. JMU won 59-20. I thought they'd at least put up a better fight, but their defense is just not good, and James Madison was able to shut him down fairly well. Terry says need to give Incarnate Word credit. They gave Sam Houston all they wanted, no doubt.
We did.
Credit to them. That was impressive.
And I did not see that coming. So before I pat myself on the back for seeing Southeastern Louisiana getting boat raced, I will comment I did not see that coming. But Southeastern Louisiana did what every Southland team that's been built like them has done for the last 5 years, and that's get their butts handed to them by James Madison in Bridgeforth. I mean, It happened to Briscoe twice, and he was arguably as good of a quarterback as Kelly. So,
yeah, Patrick says he's impressed that Montana State didn't have more issues with all the QB drama going on. I guess for those that don't know, the starting quarterback left the program before their first midweek of their first playoff game. Sounds like he was getting benched or something, and he didn't like it, so they had to bring in a new quarterback. Lucky for Montana State, they kind of had a warm-up game, I'd call it, against UT Martin. And so we'll see how they do against Sam Houston. They have the defense to make some noise in that game, but we'll get to that in a bit here. The Montana-Eastern Washington game was interesting. It was fun up until halftime. And then Eastern Washington just decided to screw up on special teams a bunch of times and just kind of let that game get away from them. Because that could have been real entertaining down to the finish if they wouldn't have screwed up so many times. But no, I'm not. I'm out. Thanks, Jordan. No.
From the top rope, Jordan Fink has been still all in on Eastern Washington. Oh, beauty.
No, I'm not all in on them. I do wish they wouldn't have screwed up so many times because I feel like they would have won that game if they didn't have the special teams gaps. But anyway,
whatever you got, whatever excuses you got to make for your Humpty Dumpty bracket that fell down and took a great fall, and now nobody can put the pieces back together again.
Did you see Eric Berrier threw the ball 80 times in that game?
Yes, I did.
A warrior too. Like he was hurt in that second half, and he kept coming out slinging the ball. I mean, I felt bad for him. You could see he was just like, and that's the thing. Like you could tell he's like, okay, I'm done. Just get me out of here. But a lesser dude would have just like mailed it in. He was still out there balling. So good for him.
Yeah, he battled to the end. The weird thing about that game to show people, if you didn't watch, how bad Eastern Washington was on special teams. The total yardage, like Eastern Washington had somewhere around 500 yards total offense. Montana had somewhere around like 350 or some yards of total offense. But then if you add special teams to the equation, Montana had almost 500 yards offense if you include that in there. I mean, the amount of yards in average field position they gave up was insane. I don't know if Montana started behind their own 40-yard line the whole game. That was insane. I've never seen special teams that bad.
Yeah, that was impressive. The next game, let's see, we went over Sam Houston, went over Montana State. Villanova didn't exactly impress in their win over Holy Cross.
Yep.
They won 21-16. I mean, they were in control pretty much the whole game, but man, if you watch that game, it was like this team, and granted their quarterback didn't play well, but man, Holy Cross is able to give them some fits, and it's
well. Here's my thing. I think Holy Cross is a little better than maybe they get credit for because they had a bad loss to Merrimack. But on the same token, we remember playing Holy Cross here last year in the playoffs, and that was a game until like the third quarter. We finally burst that open. Like that wasn't they weren't any slouches. And that game, looking back now, because when you looked at it initially, it's like Villanova's not that great. But if you look back on it, they were up 14-0, I think, if I remember, at half. And then they let Holy Cross back in it, and all of a sudden it was a game. I don't know if that reminds anybody of anything that just happened. Hypothetically, maybe we know how that goes. It's real weird. I have noisy cats. And but so I don't necessarily take that. I certainly don't think we should take that as that Villanova's not all that great. But yeah, they and like Dustin says, they did beat UConn. UConn sucks, but so does Colorado State. Colorado State doesn't suck quite like UConn. Colorado State sucks like the Minnesota Vikings, and UConn sucks like the Jets. But I do agree they both suck. I got my Vikings dig in there. That's great. How are the Lions, by the way? You know what? UConn sucks like the Lions. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's fun.
Just kicking a guy while he's down. I'm not a nice person.
Yeah, I can't imagine. And the nice thing was that at this point, I know the Vikings aren't going to do anything, but it's a good thing I'm at that point. Otherwise, that loss would have really made me angry. But I'm hoping it leads to Zimmer's firing. That'll be the silver lining of the whole thing. But
I'm hoping you guys make the playoffs as the 7th seed and he keeps his job.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
I'd be excited.
All right, back to our picks. The last one here, we were favored by 9. We should have covered that. We didn't. We won 24-19, only won by 5. So that is the recap. Brennan went 4-4. I went 2-6. Not great. He gained 2 picks back, but he's still, I think, 2 picks back overall. So
to be fair, the only one of us who had picks as bad as that Vikings loss this season so far has been me when I went 0-9.
Also true. Also true. All right, so let's look at this week's the quarterfinal matchups. We're down to 8 teams. We got 4 games. Let's start with NDSU and East Tennessee, which is the most boring game of the weekend. I don't see East Tennessee going in there and making any noise. They're undersized. I mean, they don't have a prolific passing offense, which is you're going to need that to beat NDSU. Yeah, I don't see it happening.
Well, yeah, I mean, certainly if you're an undersized running team that doesn't run the option, you need to be able to pass the ball to beat NDSU, especially up in Fargo. I think we're all very unfamiliar with what happens to the teams their first time in Fargo. I think the only one who really did anything of note has been Georgia Southern and Coastal Carolina, and they both still lost. Eastern Tennessee is going to get absolutely dump trucked unless NDSU completely overlooks them.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. that spread is 22.5, which is kind of crazy for a quarterfinal game when it's not like somebody upset the seeded team. This is a seeded team going against another seeded team, and they're 22.5-point underdogs.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see, I don't see them staying, and we can make picks along the way here. I don't see them staying within 22.5. I think it's going to be like a 45-7 game or something like that. And
Right.
I don't see them scoring more than 14 points, and I don't see NDSU scoring less than 40.
Yeah. And ETSU does have their Vanderbilt win, which once you take that SEC patch off of that jersey, that's about on par with beating UConn, in my opinion. I don't know who I'd pick in a Vanderbilt UConn game, honestly. Probably would depend who's the home team. So I'm not as impressed with that as, say, Eastern Tennessee State fans are. And if you happen to be watching, I'm sure we'll have comments because they've been proud of themselves on Facebook a little bit from what I've seen.
Enjoy it because it's coming to an end.
Right. And you know what? That's exactly it. You can't knock them for being excited. First playoff win. They sold the stadium out for their playoff game, which
that's cool.
I don't think anybody else did. So that's awesome. But for me, if there was an over-under on rushing yards for this game, I would bet the over, and I don't care what the rushing yards are, unless it was like 500. If they're unfortunately, I think everybody knows by now, we would much rather see NDSU lose to Eastern Tennessee State because hilarious. But
yeah, it would be.
I mean, good. Oh, I would be the happiest little girl if that happened. Unfortunately, yeah, I'm gonna eat the points and take the homeless cows up there. It's shopping mall season. It's an empty shopping mall. It's like, it's interesting. Their attendance is going the way of shopping malls, and it's just kind of dying off. There's less people there. People aren't as excited about sales at Hollister anymore. So
right.
Things happen. They don't have. I think they took the sunglass stands away, and I didn't. Maybe they got rid of the guys who do the hair straighteners. I don't know, but they're just not getting the traction there. Their players are all pissed off on Twitter. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's funny seeing them not be able to sell at the stadium. It makes me happy.
Well, the worst thing about it, all right, you're in a metro area almost the size of Sioux Falls without any issues of weather, and that's happening. And so get out of my business with the rest of your attendance talk from them for the rest of your lives. That'd be cool.
That'd be great. So I think we both agree NDSU covers that game easily.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Moving on. Before we move on, Chad reminded us this is the Fade Brendan Get Rich segment brought to you by Shenanigans, which are you going to Shenanigans this weekend?
I believe I am. At least that's my plan until the wife says otherwise. So we'll see what Ariel says. She's been very supportive of my Jackrabbit habit. She even reset and reorganized my desk, and I think she went through my computer and made it faster. So thanks, honey.
Nice.
But I'm hoping so.
But yeah, so Shenanigans is the place to be for Jacks fans for away games. There'll be a watch party there. So if you want a cool place to go hang out and watch the game with a bunch of other Jacks fans, go to Shenanigans. It's an awesome place to be anyway, but especially when there's a Jacks game on. Hey, you got the okay there. Ariel says, sure, why not? Let's go to Shenanigans. Perfect.
Hey.
All right. So the next game we've got is let's go to Sam Houston. They're the number 1 seed. They've got Montana State coming to play them. And Sam Houston is 7.5-point favorites at home. This game's interesting because I think this is the best defense that Sam Houston has seen all year.
Yes.
And so it'll be interesting to see how they react. Because I think, you saw in the playoffs last year, they got by, but those were tight games. It's not like
Right.
they were dominating these real good defenses. So, I forget who mentioned it, but somebody said at some point if you keep playing tight games against good teams, it's gonna bite you. So it'll be interesting to see if Montana State can hold it close and take it at the end, because I think they got the defense to do it.
Yeah, they have the defense to do it. They're in real trouble if Sam Houston is like Schmidt. And we'll see if Schmidt survived. That dude's been getting hammered, by the way. But if Schmidt and Ezard and company get loose and start putting up points, then who knows? But Montana State is fully capable of, like, Patrick says, I don't see him shutting down Afonso on the ground. Because of that, and I kind of agree, Montana State's going to be able to shorten this game. And we've seen what happens in the past with high-flying Jacks teams against, like, that Youngstown State game a ways back with Goddard and Winnicky, where they just sat on the ball all game. So I do think it's going to be a tight game. What's the line for this one again?
Sam Houston is favored by 7.5.
I'm going to take the points on that because it's Sam Houston State in the playoffs. I think they'll probably win. This is what they did the whole last playoffs, is won barely. So, and barely beat them on a team that we didn't think they should have barely beat. And then they barely squeaked by NDSU, and then they barely squeaked by James Madison. So, I'm going to go ahead and take the points because I think they're back on that roll.
You're taking Montana State to cover then?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think I am too. I think Montana State holds us to within a score, and I think they have a chance to win it at the end. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Like Patrick says, they did it to Eastern earlier this year. They kept Eric Berry on the sideline, a more prolific offense than Sam Houston has, and they were able to shut him down. Their defense is no joke. So I think they have a real chance to win this game, even though they're 7.5-point underdogs. I could see them going down to Texas and winning, which I would love because I want to drive to Bozeman. I think it'd be a fun trip.
And stylistically, it's such a better matchup for us against Montana State, who doesn't really throw the ball. For us, I'd rather play a team like that. We've seen what can happen when we play a team like that in the Homeless Cows. So I really would love that matchup over having to deal with Ezard and company with a little bit of a banged up secondary.
Yep. Yeah, so that'll be one to watch. Hopefully we're celebrating a Jacks win and watching that one to see who we're going to play in the semis. Another real interesting game is on Friday night at 6 p.m. Central. Montana goes to James Madison. I can't wait to watch this game. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. James Madison, I'm kind of surprised they're favored by 8 in this one. Now, I've seen a lot of people say, oh, James Madison's passing offense is back. Okay, you got 59 against Southeastern Louisiana. Let's slowly roll a little bit. We knew they didn't have a defense. So, and their passing offense isn't back. He was like 55% passing. And the only reason it looked good was because each pass went for like 30 yards a pass because Southeastern Louisiana's defense is terrible. So all they had to do was complete the ball, and then they went for 30 yards.
Right.
And so I think James Madison needs to slow their roll a little bit. They're a good team, but I think Montana can make a lot of noise in this game. I'm going to take Montana to cover the 8 points because I think they're getting better as the season goes on. They're playing really well right now with a lot of confidence. And I like the way they look. I'll take Montana.
Well, you're making it really hard for me to climb back and tie you in my picks. I'm a little nervous taking 2 road teams in the playoffs, but I'm just taking the cover. But I'm with you. I mean, the people all of a sudden JMU is some high-flying passing offense. I mean, Southeastern Louisiana's defense is legitimately, I don't know if Lindenwood might have a better defense. And I don't know if that's an exaggeration, honestly. Southeastern Louisiana's defense is just next level bad. So I don't get sold on a game where you put up a ton of points against air. So I really like the way Montana's playing. Their defense, I think, is going to give serious issues to James Madison's offensive line. It's a really young offensive line. That's a big deal. So I'm going to take the Grizz to cover.
Yeah.
That and two fan bases that totally deserve each other are Montana and North Dakota State. So I just want to see those two scream at each other for a week while I eat popcorn because, oh my God, that's going to be legendary.
Going to be, yes.
Don't you feel dirty taking the Grizz, though?
Why? I don't know. I take NDSU. I'd way rather take Montana than NDSU, and I just did that. I mean, I feel dirty taking the homeless cows. I mean, I feel like I need a shower right now, but that would totally disrupt the live broadcast. So,
which is interesting. I think it was Jim Poppin brought up a potential Dakota versus Montana semis, which would be kind of cool if Montana State upsets and we play them, and then Montana upsets and they play NDSU.
Oh man, you know it'll be cool, but on the flip side, the amount of the Big Sky is better than the MVFC and the MVFC is better than the Big Sky will make me puke. That is my least favorite part of the playoffs. I hate it. I want every Missouri Valley football team to lose, and I want them to lose by 100 in the playoffs. I don't understand it. Maybe it's because I hate the SEC and how they do that, or I'm just exhausted from seeing people fight like that all the time. But it's just so stupid. I just think it's stupid. But beyond that, I mean, the concept would be kind of cool. And it'd be interesting because one Dakota would be traveling to Montana, and we'll just wave at Montana as they fly back to Fargo. Probably high five on the way out. We both want each other to win anyways, so.
Look at Tammy, be entertaining. Just are you not entertained?
Just right? No, I think she was
telling us to dance monkey
about their fans.
She's saying.
I mean, let's see. The conversation last week was highly entertaining, and we kind of come down from that.
I didn't know if she's saying that it would be entertaining, or she's telling us.
I think she's saying it would be entertaining.
Okay,
I think
I thought she was demanding that we be entertaining.
I think it's more fun if she demands it. Ben, entertain me. We're just
dance,
I'm gonna drink some chocolate milk and do dance for me, dance for me, dance for me. Whoa, whoa,
whoa. There we go. Yeah, she clarified. Yeah. All right, I appreciate that.
Well, that's no fun. Now we can't demand that Ben dances.
Put up
in the light of his projector.
Jim's comment: Jack's men's basketball tie with Idaho at the under 12 timeout. Which, how do you know that? Because I
did have it up.
I've got the stream up. Yeah, you had it up for 1 second, like you always do with comments. You're like rifling through. You're like, see this one? See this one? Did you guys see this? Did you see this comment? Anyway,
speed read. Damn it!
So I'm watching the stream here, and there's no score at the bottom. So
he's probably
close.
See, Jim is half listening to us, and he's half listening to the basketball game. But he's got the radio stream on.
I'm half watching the basketball game, so most of the time I'm not paying attention to you.
See why we're not entertaining this game? We're only getting 50%. We're only getting 50% of Ben here for a quarterfinal matchup. I think hey, Matt, instead of docking my pay
for Jack's basketball, man.
Why do I always get my pay dinged, but you don't? And you're watching a basketball game while we do this.
I don't know.
What are you streaming it on? I couldn't find it on ESPN.
It's down there on ESPN Plus.
That sounds made up. CBS app.
No. Well, I think he's got the score from the CBS app, but
you two have very conflicting theories here. I don't.
I can't
tell Chris Hammond to get their act together with not having the score on the screen. That's just absolutely silly. Anyways, oh cool! Wow, he flipped his phone screen. Yeah, there isn't a score. That's crazy. Anyways, so welcome to our live stream and comments on the basketball game.
Yeah, ESPN's going to shut down our podcast in a hurry.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh,
violating copyright laws.
Is this on topic for the rest
mouse
of
is going to get you?
Just curious. Back to football? Maybe?
No, Chad, we had to
Like,
make sure
Goofy,
we had
shut
to,
it down.
we were looking like we weren't going to hit an hour, so we had to fill. It's what they call fill
We
in the
don't hit an
business.
hour. If we didn't go over the hour, how are we even living? I mean, what games do we have left to pick? We picked all of them, right? Except for the important one.
Except for the important one. I saw Kyle pretty much by himself went an hour and 15 minutes. So
Well,
I feel like that's a challenge at this point.
He had a hero sports guy. Yes,
That's true.
Hey, I bet Chad still has to watch a Christmas movie tonight. Should we discuss the merits of which Christmas movie he should have to watch?
What's on the docket tonight?
We already watched our Christmas movie. It was Christmas Vacation. And
good Lord, what do you get off at like 2 p.m?
Well, 4, but I start early.
You watched it before the pod? That was smart.
Yes.
He knows what our hijinks are now. So
wise rabbit.
I would be
wisdom's right here. Everybody can see it. It's on film. That's wisdom there.
I'd be in for this. I'd be in for this whole Christmas movie thing if it was just Christmas Vacation for 25 days straight.
Oh my god!
Because we watched Scrooge the night before. That's a good movie.
Are you going to throw Die Hard in there?
Are we going to talk football? Let's talk football.
Why does he want to stay on track? I feel like people watch us to see us just go off the rails like some horrific train wreck. They're not here for the content unless it's awful.
I do want to get done so I can watch the end of this Jacks game, and I bet other people do too. All right, allegedly. So we're gonna finish quick, and we're gonna look at the spread for the Villanova SDSU game. So we're going out to Philadelphia, and we are favored by 7.
By 7.
Once again, we're favored against a seeded team. I don't like it either. Yep. Dan says we're entertaining enough to keep him awake. He has a 2-month-old. I hope that's going well for you, Dan. Missed you at tailgate. Anyway, so we're favored by 7.
Ariel's home.
I do like, you mentioned how Montana State's a better matchup for us because they don't have a high-flying passing attack. Villanova's the same way. They don't have a high-flying passing attack. They are very run-heavy. They have a capable quarterback, but I think an inconsistent one. As you saw against Holy Cross, he didn't play well. I'm hoping he plays like that against us. If he plays like that against us, I bet we win by 20. Because he was not playing well, and we play well against the run. Aaron says one of you needs to dim your lights so we can barely see your face like the Believe guys.
A guy gets a ring light, and now I got to turn it off. My wife goes out of her way to get
turn
probably
because
I'm not wearing a baseball cap.
Turn it back on again.
Oh God, it's Vampire Chad.
I don't think it's very bright. I think you need to adjust your.
I don't either.
Adjust your set, Aaron.
Yeah, adjust your settings. You adjust to us,
right? Yeah. Seth says Dan Smith is like a streaky 3-point shooter. He can be really good or really bad. Yeah, so he's inconsistent. And like I said, they rely on the run, and we stop the run well. So I think it's a good matchup for us. However, their defense is very good at stopping the run as well. So we're going to need to pass the ball well. But the good thing is we don't really rely on the run. So
right. Wow.
I'm never letting go.
Oh my God.
Never letting go.
Kim is gonna hunt you down, and it'll be hilarious. No, I do. Just from a matchup standpoint, I like this. I can't get the thought out of my head how tight that was last time, and we really struggled with the Kim says she might, but with the 3-3-5, that's a tough defense to just prepare for with 1 week when you don't face it very often. And with this sort of slug it out game, I got a feeling in this game, if we get a 10-point lead, it's going to feel like 40 points, if you get that sort of lead with these two defenses. I have a lot of faith in our defense to stop their offense. I just am cautious about how we're going to do offensively here. So on the road in Villanova after we just flew to Sacramento and just flew back. We haven't had a bye since week 3, which means we've played like 12, 13 games in a row, which don't get me started about how stupid having a bye week in the out of conference is. That's going to be a tough game, man. So honestly, I think we win, but I think it's going to be like 3 to 4 point sort of game, and it's going to have us screaming in the group chat again because that's what we do.
So you're taking Nova and the 7 points?
I will take the points.
All right. Well, you got a chance to gain 1 back at least because I'm going to take SDSU. I think we win by 10 to 14. I think that we shut down their run game, make them pass the ball, and I think they struggle a little bit with that. And then I do think that they have a good run defense, but I think our running offense is better, and I think we'll be able to pass the ball on them some. So, I'll take us winning 10 to 14 and going on to the semis, either going to Texas or Montana.
Right on. I'm for it. Maybe it's in Montana. We all carpool out.
That sounds good to me.
All right. Hell yeah. Let's do it.
All right. We'll stop out at the set of Yellowstone on the way.
There we go. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. Do us all a solid. Subscribe if you got a kid, like a young one that you throw on, some kids program for. Maybe throw us up there and play us for them. We'll get them on the right path.
I would not recommend that at all.
No, but thanks everybody for listening. If you share it around, we appreciate it. But we'll see you next week. And
Yep. As always, go big, go blue, go Jacks.
Go Jacks.
Go Jacks.